This is not your typical Nick Wright hedge, but I really think that's the truth, that both teams should feel good about what happened last night. No, look, the Suns, obviously you got the win. You got the win. But also, the Suns confuse Milwaukee, and they know it. All right? Milwaukee doesn't know how to defend the Suns' dynamic pick and roll. It's simple as that, because in today's NBA, there aren't many teams that will exploit you on the pick and roll with the mid-range jump shot. Most teams are trying to set up a three or get to the rim, whereas the Suns will say, we'll take that mid-range shot. So first, Milwaukee started off switching, and that's why you see Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis and these big guys on Chris Paul and Devin Booker, and they got exposed. And then they went to their normal drop coverage where you kind of concede the mid-range shot to some degree, and that didn't work out either. So, look, in 3 games now versus Phoenix or versus Milwaukee, these are the averages for the Suns' big three. Chris Paul averages 27 points a game against Milwaukee in the 3 games. That's the most against any team this season for Chris Paul. Devin Booker, 27. DeAndre Ayton, 20. That's like 3rd or 4th highest he has among teams. I don't think they have answers necessarily for Phoenix, or at least Phoenix should feel that way. Also, Milwaukee shot great from 3. Phoenix shot poorly, but yet they still won. Also, Milwaukee was supposed to exploit their size advantage, but yet Phoenix outscores them in the paint. So they feel great. But if I'm Milwaukee, I'm saying, number one, Giannis was back, and he didn't really look like he had any physical limitations. And I figured, look, it was going to take him a game to get his bearings straight again, to get his rust off, to get his rhythm back. He's going to get better, and he still was pretty good as it was. Secondly, this is par for the course for us. We've lost the first game in the last 3 series, and obviously the last 2 we came back to win. So they're resilient. They'll adapt and make this a series. So I really feel good if I'm either team.
All right, I need to address a few things off the top. First of all, shout out to Brandon, who all year long said there was going to be a team in the finals whose big 3 would combine for 75 points per game. Now, he thought it was going to be those pretenders in Brooklyn, but maybe it's the big 3 in Phoenix. You got Chris Paul, Booker, and Ayton. I added up those numbers in my head. That's 74 a game, Broussard, so it's right off Brandon's number.
That was my take all year.
and the shrubbery comments about hedging. Chris Broussard on this show, on his radio show, on Undisputed, on every show yesterday was like, I've got Phoenix, but I give Milwaukee a 40 to 45% chance to win. If that's not a hedge, then I don't know what is. It's like, no, I've got Phoenix, but I've got the other team with almost exactly a coin flip chance. I've got heads, but I give tails a 40 to 45% chance of coming up. So miss me with the hedging. Now to who should feel better. The analysis that Broussard actually gave of the game is spot on. Milwaukee, that was the worst defense they've played all playoffs except for game 2 against Brooklyn, and you do have a reason to be concerned that that's not an outlier, that they do have trouble defending Phoenix because of the regular season success Phoenix had scoring the basketball and because of the way their defense is built up. But Brandon, the reason to me it is undoubtedly Milwaukee should feel better is because of Giannis. Like, none of us thought Milwaukee had a chance in this series if Giannis didn't play in it. Now, I know Broussard and Brandon liked Phoenix even if Milwaukee played the whole time. But we all acknowledged if Giannis doesn't play, they don't have a chance. And while we didn't really say it yesterday, it almost went without being said, if Giannis came back and he was his version of James Harden, where he's there, but he is a shell of himself, then they also didn't have a chance. Giannis didn't look 100%, but damn, he looked close. And in the 35 minutes Giannis played, Milwaukee was +1. Now, in the 13 he sat, they were -14. But because there was such an overwhelming concern about Giannis, if I'm Milwaukee, I'm like, all right, we were down 0-1 to Brooklyn. We were down 0-1 to Atlanta. We're down 0-1 here, as Broussard mentioned. And most importantly, our superstar is going to be with us for the full 7 this series is going to go. So I think they feel better than Phoenix, that I would imagine went into this game saying, we've got to win game 1. We've won all our game 1s. We're the home team. And this is probably going to be the worst version of Giannis we have the whole series. So I think Milwaukee should feel better.
Well, no. I mean, look, Giannis, I mean, they should feel good. One of the things that we're not talking about is, yeah, he looked great. But how's he feeling right now? How's he feeling after playing 35 minutes? Is there any swelling in that knee? That's the true test right there. So, yeah, they got a fighting chance because Giannis looked good last night. He didn't seem super limited, but I still didn't see that signature move where he's driving to the basket and does the spin move. To me, that's really the true test on that knee. But they should feel good because they're not going to get swept. That's the only reason why they should feel good, because Giannis out there, they'll probably get one game. I have the Suns winning in 5, but who should feel better? Obviously, clearly, it's Phoenix. I said this yesterday. I said it earlier in the show. 74 NBA finals and finals in the history of the game. The team that won the first game went on to win the series 53 times. That's nearly 72%. So yeah, the Phoenix Suns should feel like champions right now. Not only do you have CP3 elevating his game and scoring the ball at a high level, averaging 36 points. I mean, what is it? 65% from the field, 73% from 3. Like, that's insane. But his impact, his true impact, is on everybody else on the court, his teammates. And the thing that separates this team, because, Chris, you talked about this earlier, is really the coaching. So, Wiles, when you think about coaching, not only do they have Monte Williams on the sideline, but they have CP3 on the court. Like, he's the ultimate coach. So you have those two guys going against Bud. And all year, all I've been hearing, Wiles, from Nick is, well, Bud's not this, Bud's not that. I don't think they have a chance, Wiles.
That's true.
Okay, well, Bud is going to have to make some adjustments, and we've seen them come from behind. He's tweaked a few things, and now they're in the finals. So one of the adjustments, if you could see it on those videos that you were just showing, Brandon, is like Brook Lopez just getting cooked. Devin Booker's cooking them. Chris Paul is cooking them. So they've got to figure that out. Either you got to go small or put poor Brook Lopez on the bench for a while. You don't want to get him Gobert to the point where they're just attacking him every single time. Here's the other thing I want to see, Broussard. I want to see Drew Holiday be the more aggressive Drew Holiday that we thought that we unlocked, according to Charles Barkley, in the Atlanta series. He had 27 points and 25 points in the last 2 games when Giannis was out. Comes back last night. Takes 14 shots, scores 10 points, plays an okay amount of defense, gets some rebounds, gets some assists. But if I was like, we can do a whole segment and never mention the third member of the Milwaukee's Big Three. So I think we need to see Drew Holiday play more aggressive. I think Coach Bud, Giannis, Middleton, everybody just being this, hey, Drew, we know we want you to be a defensive stopper. We also want you to look for your shot. I think it has to come early, establish his rhythm, and let him sort of score a little bit. So take a little bit of the pressure off Giannis, who I don't think is 100%, but will play better next game.
I agree with you, Wiles, and I don't want to put this on Giannis. A lot of people are like, oh, Drew is unleashed now that Giannis is not there, and they'll probably say, see, Giannis is back, Drew struggled. No, this is on Drew. All right, I thought he was aggressive at times, but at times he wasn't as aggressive as normal, because I think he looked at the first 2 games without him against Atlanta and said, all right, I see how the ball's moving. I see how everybody else got involved. I don't want to disrupt it. I kind of want to fit in. He only took 11 shots. That's his lowest in a playoff game this year, in which he played the whole game, other than the game he got hurt in. So Giannis was trying to let other guys do it, and Drew just didn't have it. So you're right. Drew's got to show up. I don't know who he's stopping. Being the defensive stopper, he certainly isn't working on that end. He's going to have to get it done on the other end.
Listen, Chris, I got to push back on you. It's not all on Drew. Someone has to make a sacrifice. Nick made fun of me earlier talking about, well, Brandon talked about the Big Three averaging 25 points. Maybe it's the Suns, et cetera, et cetera. Look, Someone has to make the sacrifice. When the big three, well, it's okay. But when the big three was out there talking about the Nets, who was making the sacrifice? It was James Harden. James Harden, he was distributing the basketball. He was taking less shots. So when you think about this team, he is the Chris Bosh of this team. He is the Kevin Love of this team. You can't expect this guy to go out there and be aggressive on the offensive side because he is playing second fiddle to Chris Middleton. And then you obviously have Giannis, who is a ball-dominant guy, so I don't think it's all on him. I've seen it time and time again, not only in basketball, but also in football, where a new guy comes into the locker room, he's thrown in the huddle, and now he has to figure his way out. Like, how do I fit on the defensive side? How do I fit on the offensive side? So I think it's a bigger conversation than just Drew being more aggressive on the offensive side, Jenna.
And Jenna, to be clear, I was making fun of the Nets, not Brandon. I was making fun, but it was of the Nets, not making fun of Brandon.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.